talking about the Unabomber's Manifesto today. Now, this is a book I've read before. I just reread it yesterday. I read it first, like, early into my political career. And I was like, this is interesting. I've talked about this many times on the channel. I got very into philosophy and political philosophy. And I was like, the Unabomber. It's an interesting guy. Let me preface this video. I do not condone terrorism. The stuff that the Unabomber did was wrong. I am not a supporter of anarchy. I'm an American patriot. It's not that I support anarchy, but I do agree with many of the ideas that we'll be covering today. But it's just for educational purposes, and I don't agree with the anarchy and stuff like that. I just agree with some of the stuff that he talks about with the future of technology. Okay. All that being said, I think the story of the Unabomber is interesting. I mean, I don't watch documentaries. I'm not a woman, so all the stuff that I know I've just read. So I don't have like an in-depth profile on him. Because I will say he went to Stanford or Harvard when he was like 16. Harvard. When he was 16, he skipped the 11th and 12th grade. And he was a genius. He was like, I don't know his IQ. I think it was 160, 170. Super intelligent guy. Became a professor at the school. He was part of an MK Ultra experiments, which is the CIA doing mind control experiments and stuff like that. Testing out a bunch of different theories, mostly based on the Kabbalah, actually, interestingly enough. A lot of it was. Because, like I've said a billion times, magic is psychology. They go hand in hand. Not all of it, but some of it. And there's some disgusting, dark, terrible, twisted parts of MK Ultra we can talk about. Here's what I'll say about MK Ultra. What's interesting is that there's 150 files total, and only like 60 got released, or 70. The other ones were burned and destroyed and stuff. Like Project Monarch. It's a conspiracy. Okay, but listen, government, I don't know if it's true or not. It's just like an internet story thing. Yeah. Anyways. So, what they did was, this is my understanding of it. I read the story a while ago, so maybe I'll get some details wrong. After graduating, he became a professor, and he had this one project where the CIA told him, like, yeah, you're going to study a lot on something that you love, and you're going to present it, and it'll just be a nice long presentation, and we want you to do a really in-depth study. And then he does it, and people, like, made fun of him the whole time. There's some theories and potential evidence asserting that he might have been given drugs during it, like LSD or something, and he decided that he can't do with society, which a lot of the geniuses are loners. They don't do well around a lot of people, you know? I mean, it's not to say that if you're a loner, you're a genius, because obviously not, right? We all know Craig. But, like, I'm not referencing anyone specific. I'm just saying everyone knows a loser that's a loner in their life. But a lot more losers are socialites than loners. But anyways, he does it. He gets made fun of the whole time. He's like, I'm done. And he moves out to a cabin in the woods, and he lives there peacefully in Montana for a few years. Or Wyoming, one of those states. One of those northwest states. Lives peacefully out there for a while, and then under the constant noise of the building of a highway in his backyard, he loses it and starts to send bombs to everyone who is contributing to the progression of industrial society. So scientists, government officials, mainly those two. Okay. So, what is in his manifesto? Well, first, let's preface the manifesto. He sent it out to a few newspapers and said, if you don't publish this, I'm going to mail bombs to your house. Whatever, not to their house, to the business center. So he got published. And it was through this that his brother outed him, and then he got caught, sent to prison, died a few years ago. Should I show the Unabomber edit? It's like a minute long. But, and now he's gone forever. We shall never see him again. I love the note that someone wrote him. Mr. Kuklinski, do you fear death? No. He's an interesting guy. Don't idolize him because he killed people, right, guys? It's not good to like bad people. Okay? But do bad people sometimes have good ideas? Of course, right? Like, your presidents are pedophiles. You know, the guy who invented the rocket engine abused sex magic, right? Like, a lot of the people that have the good ideas that built our foundation of society are evil. Okay? And I talked about this. I recorded yesterday talking about all this stuff, and that's when I was like, should I just reread the Unabomber Manifesto? Obviously, no one told me yes or no. I just did it. So, sorry, I'm gonna have to scroll kind of far to my camera roll here. I'm gonna pause this so you don't have to watch me scroll for so long. It's probably so long. Sorry, that's probably really loud. No, but I just had to show the edit. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, I reread this book. It's honestly like it's a great explanation of psychology and philosophy. Like, one of the better ones I've seen, especially in political philosophy and stuff like that. Here's what it is, dude, this is what I love about it, is that I love evolutionary psychology, and he's huge on evolutionary psychology. He pretty much goes along to say that man not living in tribes and connecting with the outdoors and living outside is the cause of a lot of problems, which I need to read Civilization. Its discontents. Perhaps I will. But I think that it's a similar idea. I mean, I think it's pretty different, but I think it's something along that basis, that man has a lot of problems because he's not living as he did for thousands of years, right? And so he goes in to assert that the idea that there's this power process in mankind. Man needs to have this sense of control over his life, and when he doesn't have it, he moves to different things. So, for example, this is one of my favorite examples that he gives in the book. After I read this, I was like, I need to go outside right now. So I went for a nice long walk at the local park. This is his example that he gives in the book. To cut down the tree in your neighborhood, you need permits. You need the permission of all these people, of your governments, right? You can't just cut down the tree like the primitive man could. He goes to say that pretty much we have we have an extreme lack of control over our lives compared to the primitive man, is really what it is. And he goes on to talk about how this plays a role in a bunch of things. For example, man takes up hobby and stuff like that to feel like he's in control, and he goes into this restriction of freedom that goes on in our world, right? So it's like your freedom, as you understand it, is your freedom to identify as whatever gender you are, to be able to have sex with other men, to be homosexual, right? Your freedom is to practice whatever religion. Your freedom is never any freedom that the primitive man would experience, right? If the primitive man was put into our lives, he would be like, bruh, what is this? And he goes on to say that you used to, even 50 to 80 years ago, be able to live very in control, right? So you could live in an isolated townhome or an isolated home in a cabin far away from the society and still partake in society, and you get the choice. But this has been stripped from you when you get born into this society, right? So me, I'm born in the suburbs of the third biggest city in the country. I don't really have a choice on if I want to go live in the woods, live like people do, you know? And after I read this the first time when I was 14, I was like, damn, bro, I'm going to live in the woods. I'm like, fuck this. But there's a lot of nuances that he explains, and it's very well done. And what I like about it, too, I took a note of this. He doesn't act like he knows everything. And there's this common saying that only the fool thinks that he knows everything. The intelligent man knows how much he doesn't know. And thus, only the fool is cocky within his intellect. And the intelligent man says, I'm not super sure, but, and the fool says, it is 230% this, you know? And so I thought that was genius. I'll read a few excerpts that I highlighted. Oh, this is like one of my favorite parts too, is that he talks about over-socialization. Just pretty much saying that people have an over-moral code of how they're going to fit into their society, right? And he goes on a lot about leftists. And I also like it that he critiques not just leftists, but conservatives as well. And I have this thing highlighted. The conservatives are fools. They whine about the decay of traditional values, yet they enthusiastically support technological progress and economic growth. Apparently, it never occurs to them that you can't make rapid, drastic changes in the technology and the economy of a society without causing rapid changes in all other aspects of society as well. And that such rapid changes inevitably break down traditional values. A technological society has to weaken family ties and local communities if it is to function efficiently. In modern society, an individual's loyalty must first be to the system and secondarily to a small-scale community. Because if the internal loyalties of small-scale communities were stronger than the loyalty to the system, such communities would pursue their own advantage at the expense of the system. Right? He said this, which I quote a lot. There is good reason to believe that the primitive man suffered from less stress and frustration and was better satisfied with his life, with his way of life than modern man is. Right? And someone else commented on this. I don't remember who said this. He said, some dude living on a farm suffers less than Will Smith. No, but you should understand that these desires that people have, it upsets me when people are so for the material. Because are billionaires happy? Do you really think that Elon Musk enjoys his life more than you? I mean, he did have to get government subsidies. I'm just saying he's not. I don't know if he's really that rich, but a man might be born and raised in a log cabin, outside the reach of law and order, and fed largely on wild meat. And by the time he arrived at old age, he might be working at a regular job and living in an ordered community with effective law enforcement. This was a deeper change than that which typically occurs in the life of a modern individual, yet does not seem to have led to psychological problems. In fact, 19th century American society had an optimistic and self-confident tone, quite unlike that of today's society. The modern man has the sense, which is largely justified, that change is imposed on him, where the 19th century frontiersman also had the sense, also largely justified, that he created the change himself by his own choice. It's like so much of this stuff just goes into the problems of today, and I think it's genius explanation, and people are always so caught up in these very transitory issues. And like, for example, conservatives, very caught up in random social issues, right? When they don't realize, like, you can't live in cities and not have those leftist ideals being imposed on everyone, because you become collectivist when you live in the city. That's just how things are. You just become a collectivist identity, right? And he goes to state, Kuklinski goes to state that the leftist has this overarching sense of inferiority on himself, and thus he goes with the collectivist identity. He must identify with a larger group of people. 99% of the time it's the victim group, right? And is this, oh man, I don't know if I could say that. Let's just say certain groups of people have a much higher tendency to impose on them forms of identity that are the victim, and those groups of people also are greatly lacking in skill and ability and nourishment of their brain and spiritual nourishment, along with a struggle in their lives, right? What I'm getting to is that you don't see people in the third world saying, I'm pansexual, because they have greater things to worry about. They have to worry about getting their food. And get this, their food comes through actual labor, compared to in America, you work to get the money to get the food. So it creates like this disconnect almost. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? In Africa, I could go out and hunt, right? Like we could go hunt, and then we're killing for our food, killing to make our clothes. In America, we have to go make pizzas. I used to work at a pizza place. We have to go make pizzas for 10 hours a day. And then, they'll like give us money, and then with the money we can go buy food. Do you know what I'm saying? There's this disconnect, okay? And because of the fact that, generally speaking, you won't starve to death in America, even if you don't work. You're going to get food stamps, and then you're going to get all these things to care for you, right? So there's this great disconnect in the struggle that we have. Does that make sense? He doesn't talk about that much. I'm just kind of drawing out my own ideas here. And then he talks a lot about crisis for purpose. And then he talks about existentialism is in large part a response to the purposelessness of modern life. Because the reason that I was big into philosophy and stuff was because I felt very purposeless. I read this and I was like, yo! I was like, we have to go in the woods. We have to go to the woods. Oh, and then he talks about this predictability, that there's this, like, sense of predictability within nature, And although it seems very uncertain from an outside perspective, there is a greater predictability, Your greatest threats are other tribes, nature, and wild animals. And the life in the city is very inconsistent, very unpredictable, right? Life today, and he talks about that there's this greater sense of anxiety because of that. Also, he goes into stillness, that there's this stillness of nature. Everything is like my window's open, I don't know if you could hear it, but everything is like the same. It's very quiet. And he talks about overcrowding and what it does to your mind, that being in a city with the overcrowding and all these people everywhere, and there's cars honking all the time, there's people yelling in the streets, there's crackheads, that it kind of drives someone insane. And it definitely drove him insane. But I won't keep reading quotes. Oh, but one thing that I loved too was that he talked about this is just a quote. The content of entertainment programming is a powerful form of propaganda. Literally the most genius thing ever. Oh, this is why I made the anti-gym video as well. Paragraph 74. We suggest that modern man's obsession with longevity and with maintaining physical vigor and sexual attractiveness to an advanced age is a symptom of the unfulfillment resulting from deprivation with respect to the power process. The midlife crisis is also a symptom. And he talks about, this is a genius point, he says, in the ancient times you're not scared of dying because you feel like you've lived your life to the fullest. if I had kids at this age, which I would have in older times, and I've been hunting for years, I've traveled all over the lands, I know the lay of the land. Think about how much more fulfilled I'll feel, you know? And I just think it's hard for some people to understand this stuff. No, I love my life in the city. It's like, but you have to do drugs to feel happy. Like, what do you mean? You know? And it's just like, what does this go, go, go do to you? What does that go, go, go do to you? What does it do? Those are the people who hate their lives at an old age. Those people are like the ones who... Because I remember I used to have this fear of aging. I'd talk about it with my therapist, and I'd be like, I see all these old people, and they fucking hate their lives. What if I end up like them? And I wasn't scared of aging, because I'm like a woman, you know. I'm not like, no, my experience is just gonna get worse and worse. But I was like, it has to be like regret. It has to be regret. He's like, then live your life good. then don't do stupid shit. I was like, fuck. We have to individuate. We have to individuate. You know. But if you don't want to feel like the general pop, like Gen Pop, you have to live differently than Gen Pop. Yeah, no, but this stuff about maintaining your body and looking good and stuff was never a concern for the primitive man. He's like, we're gonna find wife through food. We're gonna have food, bro. We're gonna build the castle with this. We're gonna have 1 billion cows, you know. And he doesn't have like all these like weird things to be concerned about. Like, why'd that guy look at me weird? You know, he's like, man, you think I give a fuck what this dude looked at me like? You know? But this stuff, you have to take on the lens of older people, bro. You have to. And I'm gonna go meet with an older guy from my church in a bit later tonight. We're gonna meet, chat up. So we started talking about politics, and he's like, you're a real smart guy. We gotta meet sometime soon. And I was like, alright, because we were sitting in the church parking lot talking for like 40 minutes. No, but you have to take on the older perspective, bro, or you will be miserable. And this is the thing. If you're like, okay, this is what I think about all the time before. These dudes are living life terribly, right? Like, this guy plays Fortnite all day, but then I see him and he seems happy. And I've come to the conclusion that it's going to catch up to him, bro. It's going to catch up to him. And when it does, it'll be terrible. You know? I'm like, he gets to chill and be stupid, Ed. And I have to think about all this stuff, bro. But nah, I love it. So, it's chill. Yeah, but it's not too long. It's like 50 pages, and it's like a phenomenal book. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's like, it's very negative. He's kind of just pointing out everything bad, but it's literally genius done. And he talks about surrogate activities a lot, which is like people committing themselves to things that aren't directly... Here's what he defines as a surrogate activity. If you were in the natural world, would you still be doing this? Right? So me, with my spirituality, yes, I would be. It's not a surrogate activity. Me with video games, yeah, that's a surrogate activity. Me with doing research, probably a surrogate activity, right? I'm just doing it to fulfill my time, make me feel like I am doing something with my life. Which is very different from the primitive man. And yeah, it's a long, like, I'm just scrolling through this all, looking at excerpts. But geniusly done. I'd highly recommend it if you're interested in political philosophy, if you're existential, if you're feeling depressed and stuff. Because I mean, okay, like I said, I chose to read this because I like I chose to read this because I was talking about some of the ideas, and I was like, I should reread that. And well, I started rereading it a few months ago, and I just finished the reread. But he talks a lot about things like antidepressants, just the general progressing of society, and he says that I have a sticker. I don't know why I haven't shown this yet. Shit. I have a note on there that says, "Whoever says it would be easy, you always on your damn phone." Whoever said it would be easy. I was thinking one night, a few nights ago, I was getting in bed. I was like, whoever said it would be easy. I was like, this is the most genius, fucking, most repeated mantra I've ever heard. And it becomes banal as some time goes on, but as I thought about it more, I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Why don't I give this more recognition, dude? Because whoever said it would be easy, the easy route is, the gate is narrow and few shall enter, bro. That's it. That's it. Okay? But, oh yeah, so he talks about this idea that technology and these changes in society, here's what it is. He's big on the slippery slope, and that's like one of the most genius things I've ever heard, right? Like, you should be, if you're looking at societal trends, the slippery slope is like the truest thing you'll ever see. So, since most people view it in liberalism, I'll talk about it in conservatism. Let's say we set a limit on, let's say we build a wall, right? We finish building the wall. We militarize the border, okay? What's next? We're going to go full ice mode, right? Ice everywhere, okay? But for that, we need satellite tracking to observe the migrant groups, which we already have. We get satellite tracking, constant, everywhere, 24/7, all over the country, thermal imaging, okay? But what's next? No, we need to start listening to the phones, which we already do. We're going to start listening to the phones to hear. They're like, no mames, bro. And then we're like, get 'em, get 'em. We're going to be tracking every movement. Okay, but then what? We need 20 times more control on the importing of different items to see if they're trafficking drugs or people. And then we need 50 times more police patrol, whatever. And it keeps going and going. But then he talks about it with technology, right? So most people see it in politics, right? Well, first we make it legal to be transgender. And then we start doing trans surgery on children. And then we have drag queens reading books to children at elementary schools. And then we have drag shows for children. And then it's normal for children to be cross-dressing. Right. But anyways, he talks about it with technology. If we were to permit gene alterations, which we will, right, altering genes manually before birth to remove problematic diseases, sooner or later we would allow the rich to alter the genes of their children to make them ideal, and then we would have a fully genetically altered population after so long. It gets cheaper and cheaper, and more people would do it. The slippery slope. If someone told you 50, 60 years ago, so you're going to carry a government tracking device with you everywhere. Sunglasses, 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 sunglasses. I love sunglasses. I need some sunglasses soon. Man, I need to go buy some sunglasses. If someone told you that you're going to bring a government tracking device with you everywhere that listens to you speaking all the time, 50, 80 years ago, you'd say, what? Huh? What do you mean? I'm not going to do that. But then they say, hey, we have Snapchat. Hey, get Snapchat. Oh, we're going to invent this thing called Siri. Okay, we're going to start doing targeted ads. And slowly but surely, they pipeline you into, okay, this is fine, this is fine, this is fine, this is fine, this is fine. And it progresses to absolute control, right? And now we have a billion methods of monitoring the population. And if you go buy something at Bass Pro Shops, you're on a list with the feds, right? And so, to prevent revolution, you must slowly introduce the ideas and go further and further and further and further right? Imagine if they tried introducing drag to children in the 90s. Imagine if we had gay pride parades in the 90s. Or maybe we'd have to go even earlier than that, right? Because they did have gay pride parades then, but it wasn't like they do today. Imagine if they started doing it in the 70s, in the 60s. People would think, in the 70s, at the birth of liberalism with the hippies smoking crack. Imagine if they started doing gay pride parades then. The society would be so mad that they'd revolt, potentially against the government, but definitely against the social groups. And bam! It's shut out. Opportunity's gone, right? It's not going to happen soon. But with the slow introduction, Michelle Obama is a man. It's a child running through my neighborhood as fast as he can with no one around him. He's like 5 or something. Right? We're gonna slowly pipeline you, okay? There's gay people. We're legalizing gay marriage, okay? Sodomy is allowed, okay? There's nothing wrong with being gay. Slowly move it, and I'm not against these ideas. I'm just explaining the fucking pipeline. Okay, so relax, guys. There's nothing wrong with being gay, guys. Oh, now I see them chasing him. They're like, I don't know if I'm bad at estimating the age of children. Maybe they're like 4 or something. Okay, and I'm not hating gay people. Okay, I'm just explaining the slippery slope idea. But yeah, it's like that with technology. Okay, that's the point. And he's huge on it. I think it's genius. This book is really just peak social commentary from an intelligent person. Once a technological innovation has been introduced, people usually become dependent on it so that they can never again do without it, unless it's been replaced by some still more advanced innovation. Not only do people become dependent as individuals on a new item of technology, but even more, the system as a whole becomes dependent on it. Like when I get a flip phone, I've been thinking about this, dude. I can't do like fucking so much shit. You have to mobile order at a restaurant. You have to scan the QR code. I'm gonna be like, bitch, bring me a fucking menu. What do you mean? What do you mean? I have to mobile order. I can't check my bank account because they don't have as many ATMs anymore, right? There's not ATMs everywhere because people don't use them as much, right? Because everyone can just check their bank account from their phone. Like, there's a billion problems that are gonna come with me getting a flip phone. Because the society's been built on banking on you having a phone, having an iPhone, having an Android. It's reliant on it. And even if I, as a person, am not reliant on it, the system is. Okay? Okay, I'm going to wrap this up because it's been really long. But the society can only move towards more technology. My aunt is here. Okay, we're going to wrap this up. The entertainment industry serves as an important psychological tool of the system, possibly even when it is dishing out large amounts of sex and violence. Entertainment provides modern man with essential means of escape. While absorbed with the television, videos, etc., he can forget about stress, anxiety, frustration, and dissatisfaction. Many primitive peoples, when they don't have to work, are quite content to sit for hours at a time doing nothing at all, because they are at peace with themselves and their world. But modern man must constantly be occupied or entertained. Otherwise, they get bored, or they get fidgety, uneasy, and irritable. Man needs distraction. And he talks about each new step in the assertion of control over the human mind will be taken as a rational response to a problem that society faces, such as curing alcoholism, reducing the crime rate, or inducing young people to study science and engineering. In many cases, there will be a humanitarian justification, but then it goes further and further and further, and then they just have your mind, bro. They just have your mind. This is most genius take that I've seen in critical theory ever. Our society tends to regard as a sickness any mode of thought or behavior that is inconvenient for the system, and this is plausible because when an individual doesn't fit into the system, it causes pain to the individual as well as problems for the system. How many depressed people are depressed when I fucking put them on an island and say, you have to go hunt? You have to go hunt! Like none, bro. No one's fat. No one's depressed when they have to go hunt, bro. No one hates their life. No one is suicidal when they have shit to do that actually pertains to their biology and matches how humans are supposed to live. Like, fuck, bro. Fuck. How many of your problems are superficial? 10 billion. 10 billion. Okay? And then he goes on to how to destroy a system, which is like, it's a whole thing. But he talks about AI, he talks about a lot of stuff. Genius guy. In conclusion, read the book if you want to learn. He's a genius, but he's a disturbed one, like most geniuses. He's fucking insane. Name one genius that ain't crazy, from Kanye West, which I talked about in one of my other videos. That's the name of the video. I'm gonna wrap this up because I could literally be reading quotes from this book all day. In conclusion, he's a disturbed man that gets given a bad rep because he killed a bunch of people. He didn't kill that many, you know. Like, never mind. I really can't say that one. But I was about to leak something about some famous people. Yeah, but the biggest, most genius thing is that your thoughts aren't yours. I actually have this in my journal. I was rereading my journal last night. Some notes that I took. It was something along the lines of, wait. Chill out. Chill out. Chill out. Yo, wait. Okay, whatever. So along the lines of your thoughts, 99.9% of your thoughts are not yours, and it is a result of the marketing machine. It is a result of the education system. Man doesn't naturally think like this. Natural man. And how do I prove this? Speak to literally any single fucking person. And what you have to do is you have to go off heuristics. Bang, bang, bang. What is a man? Someone who identifies as masculine. Collectivism. Fucking collectivism, bro. That's what it is. What is a chair? Plato. No, but you have to use heuristics to find this out. And you get takes and you realize, yo, they're all the fucking same, bro. And part of it identifies with my thoughts. And you're like, shit, we're fucked, bro. We're fucked. The educational system has been destroying your mind. Who is the most evil person to ever exist? What? Name the biggest genocide. The Holocaust. What about the Bolsheviks? 30 million dead. You know, I'm not saying that the Holocaust wasn't bad. It was a terrible, evil thing. But the Bolshevik Revolution killed a bunch of people. And this is just what I find weird, is that no one talks about it. I literally never heard about it in school. I'm kind of hung up on that. Like, why? Why did I never hear that this happened? Like, I knew that Stalin killed some people. I mean, it was like 30 million. Some of the estimates are even higher. And I'm like, bro, what? Like, this is terrible. Those poor Russian folks, bro. It's disgusting stuff what happened. The Holocaust was disgusting too. And I guess the Holocaust was 30 years later. So maybe that's why we hear about it. I also still don't know anything about the Armenian genocide. Like, I know that it happened. I don't even know where Armenia really is. It's like Eastern Europe, maybe, I think. Sort of by Asia, like a bit south, maybe. I don't really know. But yeah, that's it. That's it. You must clean the head. Imagine I have a rag. Cleaning my skull. Golgotha. Okay, that's it. I'm sorry. No, but how do you clean your skull? How do you clean your skull? A week alone in nature. So I'm like, if you're depressed, go outside for a week and speak to no one. You know? And dude, the best people though, the best people are the unsocialized, like ones that are kind of just chillers. They kind of just be chilling, you know, like the country folk and stuff. Those people are based because they don't have all the marketing in their head. Like they think like old people do, and I love it. Yeah, that's it.